Hello there everyone, Linda Wood here. I thought I would just come on and talk about situations really where a lack of confidence can cause us to start feeling very fearful and anxiety can start building up. That can lead to all kinds of things like imposter syndrome and procrastination, just not getting on with things that are going to help you achieve your goals in life. So we don't need that, do we? We want to work some magic and take control of that situation. So I thought I would just describe a little bit, just for a few minutes. I'm going to give you some tips for how to avoid this happening or take control of it at least. But basically, when we're starting to feel fear, when a situation arises, our brain, our mind is programmed to actually try to keep us safe. And that's based on all our belief systems and our experiences that have happened to us in the past. So it's all about keeping us safe. When our mind or our brain senses danger, it's the amygdala in the brain. It's programmed, it's highly sensitized to pick up any little bit where it needs to be alert and will trigger this whole response. So it's all about keeping us safe. So what's it trying to keep us safe from? Well, ultimately, I suppose it's fear of exposure. If we've got that imposter syndrome, we don't want to be found out, do we? That we're not quite the person that everybody thinks we are. It might be pain. It could be physical pain, it could be emotional pain, anything else. We are going to move away from that and our brain will try and make that happen. It could be humiliation and ultimately rejection. So we're not accepted by those that we want to be part of the team with or part of the tribe, our friend circle, whoever it is, and that can have all kinds of repercussions. So we don't want that happening. So basically, when something happens, the way that we interpret it in our bodies is through our feelings, and they are triggered by our thoughts and then our emotions and the chemicals that go whizzing around our bodies. So we can start feeling anxious, and the tendency then is to move away from it, because that's what we do. We move away and avoid danger. So what might typically be, we don't go to a particular place where we felt discomfort before. We might give up on things easily. We might get frustrated and just say, well, that's not for me. I've tried it, I can't do it. But really, you just don't want to push yourself that extra little bit and move through it because it's making you feel anxious. You might avoid certain people because they are making you feel uncomfortable, or you've had a bad experience with them before, or it might not even been so bad, but something about the time that you spent together didn't work out quite as well for you as you would hope so you move away. And ultimately, you're not actually dealing with the cause, the thing that's behind those feelings, and so you don't process your bad feelings either. It's all avoiding it, so it's not going to go away. So the main things that you can do to start unpicking some of this, if you want a life free from this anxiety, and then you can start building up your resilience and your self-composure, your self-belief that you can do these things in these situations, then your confidence is going to grow. And that's what I'm particularly interested in for you. I think everybody should be able to operate from a place of confidence. So what do? Well, basically, you've got to become like a detective in your own life. You've got to become really, really aware of what's going on. What are the triggers? What are those particular situations that are making you feel anxious, and what's happening just before that in your thoughts? So if you can start noticing that, okay, now I'm not feeling so good, I was fine just now, but now I've got to this point, I'm not, then just stop and think about what's going on. What are you thinking? What's actually going on in your mind there? Because if you start noticing, one, the feeling, and then you can start noticing what the trigger is, you've at least halved the issue for yourself and you can start moving through it. So that's the top tip, to actually become a detective and start noticing what it is. And the next one, and the main one then, is to not let that brain of yours force you to avoid the situation. You will need to take some steps to actually move closer to the thing that is making you feel triggered, so that you can see that it isn't actually the thing that you need to be afraid of. Obviously, if there's real danger in your environment, then you need to heed that. But most of the time, it's not the case, is it? We're not going to need to be drastic and run away from everything in our lives. We can deal with these things. FBI training, even they acknowledge that certain situations they put into likely to make them feel, slight like dip of confidence and maybe even towards anxiety, but their training gives them such resilience that they know that they can actually get closer to that fear. And what they do is, in their minds, move themselves closer to the fear and feel the emotions, and then just breathe through it and process that, and it actually reprograms so that they know that they can go in and get closer and go and deal with it. So think about what you are avoiding and take steps to actually get closer and to do those things, and get support to do that. If you've got a really good friend or somebody that can help you with this, or get coaching or therapy, if you need to get therapy, absolutely do that. Because it might be something as simple that you haven't realised it, that a particular friend, for example, it might be a person or a particular friend that triggers somewhere in your mind a memory of something that caused you to feel anxious. And now when you see that particular friend again, it starts to make you feel anxious, even though you don't necessarily know why. So you'd have to kind of work back from that. So get the support that you need and work through these things, but start being a detective in your life today. And hopefully you're going to take control of any anxiety and any imposter syndrome and any of these other behaviours and conditions that can be quite debilitating at times and stop you achieving what you want for yourself in life. So I hope you found that interesting, and if you want to know more or to get support with any of these things, I do have a group, the Women's Confidence and Clarity Network. So if you are a woman that wants to join a supportive and friendly community where we look at some of these topics, then please do. That's on Facebook. Otherwise, message me and I would love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Oh, and please share this if it's of use to anybody that you know. Feel free to forward it on. Thank you. Bye for now.